Good morning, everybody. Hopefully, you can hear me and see me. Hey, it's awesome Saturday today, and we have a treat for you today. All right, but you know what? Before I start going too far, I want to make sure that one, that you can hear me and see me. So if you don't mind putting in the chat where you're from, we would love to know where you're coming from. Plus, that allows you to be able to ask questions in the chat. This is a live meeting, and so you get to ask questions as we go throughout today. This is going to be a really good one. So if you don't mind putting in the chat where you're from, we would love that. I'm from the Northern Virginia area, and I see people start putting in there. Good morning, everybody. We got Chicago showing up today, Washington, D.C. showing up, New York. Oh, yep. If you got New York, you got a New Jersey there. Hey, we got Tampa, Florida showing up today. Awesome. So I know we still got some people coming in and they getting their sound system and then getting ready to put in some questions. Hey, Waldorf, Maryland showing up, Seattle, Washington. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Yes, good morning, Florida. Hey, Cincinnati, got you coming in. Awesome. And so as you start to come in and you put in there, we really do appreciate that. We're going to ask for everybody to stay muted so that way we can hear from our featured investor today. And because she took time out of her day to share with us, and we are really grateful for that. And oh, by the way, she's done multiple deals, but this is her first online property tour. So yes, this is really exciting. So we're going to really enjoy this. She get to tell her story as we kind of go forward. We got some more people coming in from Northern Virginia. We got another people coming from Florida. So hey, as you get ready, if there's a question that you have, go ahead and put that in the chat so that way we can catch it. And not don't wait till the end because we may run out of time, which we normally do because there's so much information we want to share. So that we can get your question in and we'll be good to go. And by the way, before we even get further, somebody invited you to this meeting today. Go ahead and tell that person thank you. Just tell them, I'm just telling you right now, just tell them thank you for inviting you to this meeting because you're gonna hear something that's gonna intrigue you. Something's gonna be like, that's a good one. And so you don't want to go ahead and tell that person thank you. And then, oh, by the way, right after this, there's another meeting. It's a different Zoom link that's going to kind of talk about the how piece of what we do. And so you want to go ahead and get connect with that person that says, "Hey, I want to go to that meeting." And so you just want to go ahead and just tell them thank you. So before I get started, we got started with this because of a person named Scott Buckles. And so Scott, I know you're on the road, but if you can come on out, well, I'd love to say thank you for putting this together. I know you like to introduce our guest, our featured guest for today. Really exciting. So can you come on out?
Good morning, Keith. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Welcome, everybody. This is going to be a super exciting property tour, like all of our property tours, but specifically today, as we have an investor. Half of her investment team is her husband's out trying to close another deal right now. She'll talk a little bit about that. But guys, it like he said, we've been doing these property tours now for almost 6 years. Every Saturday, we come on, we're able to share from a featured investor or a team of investors from our community on what they're doing. They get to talk about their story, about their deal, kind of like their journeys, what's going on. And it's so cool to be able to do that. But today being April 12th, boy, this month is going by fast. Again, we have a great investor on today, Keith. Mary, are you able to come on out?
Yes. Hello.
Well, welcome, Mary. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for coming out. So, Mary, we love to kick these off. A lot of people don't know you or your husband, Seta. And if you could kind of share a little bit about you guys, your stories. And I know you both have very powerful stories. And then a little bit about why you guys decided to become real estate investors and how you found our community.
Yeah, great. So my husband and I we've been married for 10 years and we started off investing in real estate, really because of health situations that we've had. And we've had like multiple miscarriages in the beginning of our marriage, and it kind of made us make some changes in our life, and that was needing to move closer to a hospital from where we were. And so with that move, it kind of we didn't want to rent again because we had already purchased a home to, kind of grow our family when we were first married. And now, because of that, we moved and we were able to buy another home. And kind of from there, we didn't know that we could do those things. And like buying a second home and renting out our previous home. And so that kind of started our real estate journey. Um, you know, we turned a sad situation of ours into um, a real estate investment, journey, and which is what we are doing right now. And we eventually came across someone who invited us to a meetup, a simple Renatus meetup, and we were able to learn many great things from there, and that just that blew our minds, and we learned so much. And here we are today, just continuously flipping homes and buying more rental properties. And so, yeah.
Well, that's awesome. So, wow. You, I like how you said you took a situation and as y'all was kind of moving, you didn't lose your dream that you wanted to have the house, the family, kind of that situation. Then it's almost like you almost like telling my story. Like we kind of stumbled into this thing,
Yeah.
like because we have a property, we don't want to get rid of it, but we can rent it out and we can buy another one. Like who does that? Nobody in my family has multiple houses, so how can I have multiple houses? And so you came across a meeting and you just kind of like I did when I first got started, like, whoa, this is real, right? This can really happen. And that's really awesome. So out of curiosity, how long have you been doing this thing called real estate investing?
I want to say the third, probably we rented out our first home back in 2017.
Okay.
But we only had one or two rentals, then from when we moved to, be closer to the hospital. And then, yeah, and then from there, we kind of just continuously gained more properties. And then we were kind of at a halt and didn't know what else we could do. And we found many other ways through coming to a meeting.
Okay. So, because there's a lot of people on today that this may be like their first time really kind of get moving forward to this thing called real estate investing, kind of like want to pique their interest. And then there's some folks who've been doing this for a while and they probably want to take their game to the next level. So what was it that really grasped you about real estate investing? Like what made you say like, oh, that's what I want to do?
Well, I think so. We had sold our first house back in 2021. And when we first sold that home, I come from a family as well, that are immigrants. And we we made so much money from that first sale of our home, like over 200,000. And I was kind of scared of spending how to spend that money. And so, and I wanted to kind of leave something and think about my future kids, of the future of my children. And so, um, I wanted to be really strategic as to how I used the sale of the proceeds of my home. And I think when I finally stumbled upon, a meetup, a workshop and a meetup with Renatus. That kind of was my answer, I feel like, to help us get to continue investing in real estate, basically. And so I knew there was more to it that we could do. And so that was amazing to learn that from that meetup.
Yeah, because I think that's what a lot of people they know that there's something out there, but they're, I guess I want to say hesitant to actually move on it. But you actually moved on it and decided to go to a meeting to have a conversation with somebody to try to figure this thing out. And then from there, it kind of took off from there. Is that kind of fair to say?
Right. Yeah. And, thankfully someone had randomly invited me. And so, I am grateful for that, and it was Maylee that invited me to the meeting, and it was just what we needed. So yeah, that was really nice that it's basically what I needed to find for us and my
Yeah.
family situation.
And that's kind of interesting. That's one thing I like about the community. We help others, and sometimes we don't know we need help until somebody kind of like brings it to us. It's like, yeah, that's what I've been looking for, but I didn't have the
Right.
words to kind of, get it out to ask for it. Because sometimes, like myself, I was shy to ask, a big guy like myself, we don't ask for help. We know everything, right? So I get it when it comes to, asking questions, but there's something out there and you was
Yeah.
able to move forward. So when you saw the community, what kind of caught your attention about that? What gravitated you towards that?
So I really loved it because there was constant education, constant classes, courses, and all that. And what I really loved about it, it wasn't just focused on one particular investing subject. And so I feel like right now, for example, um, whatever we work on, I feel like there's answers for it in the education that has helped my family, myself, and our goals that we're trying to um, get into as far as real estate investing. So I think that's very important because looked into I have looked into other programs, and it's not as big as an education as Renatus. So um, I have spent money on other other programs, and so
Guilty
this
as
has.
charged too. Done the
Oh, okay. I
same.
will admit, yeah.
But you know what? But one of the things I learned from that is what I knew what was missing,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
And like even Laura, she's saying that yes, sometimes afraid to do the move to move forward is what sometimes holds us back. And so one of the things that helped me kind of move forward was it was a community just like you saw, and then to be able to ask questions, to connect with people, to what I call once I realized the education was there and the power behind that, then the community supported it. So that what happens is you build confidence. And because people are like, how do you move forward? Well, you build confidence by you say get outside your comfort. Well, how do you do that? Well, you figure out what are the things that are missing. One was it like the education. You knew there was something out there, but then when you got
Seeking it out.
invited, you saw, he says, there it is. It was kind of like a light bulb, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. So then how did you start to implement? Because that's one of the things we're going to talk about in this property tour. You're going to show us pictures and all that kind of, but a lot of people want to know how did you implement? What kind of the things did you do to actually kind of move forward?
Well, I kind of would study and go through what I wanted to work on. So, for example, I really wanted to flip homes. And the reason for that was because my husband was particularly for our situation, he was in the construction field. And so for me, I really was like, I think flipping would be a great space for us to get started in. And that's what I focused on. And so there's so much education in there for flippers and negotiating deals. I really didn't know how to do that, to be honest. And I was able to find that information in the education and really just going out there and applying those things, learning what questions to ask. I would have never knew that, what to ask people selling their home. I until learning from the education, and so that kind of really helped me know what to do, and then getting out there. To be honest, getting out there and doing those things, but a major part too has been the community. I feel like I've had multiple mentors, throughout, you know, getting to know people in the communities, uh, in Renatus, and it's helped me so much to kind of figure out what I'm strategically need to do, or um, what I did wrong maybe, and what I can do better in.
Yeah, no, that actually makes sense because like Reno, hopefully I said that name correct. They says, we're talking about like an academic training program. And so one of the things that I like to say is different because it's something that you learn and do. It's not one of the things where you just learn and you just consume and then that's it. Like the traditional way of going to school, like there's some things I learned in school that I never use outside of the test of the school, right? So these are the things that you can use to move forward. Now, of course, you know, it depends on the person moving forward. Like today, our featured investor took action. And so there's a big key of not just learning, but taking action. And speaking of taking action, let's go ahead and talk about this property. Because I know some people are like, what are we talking about? How did you find this property?
So this particular property, we had already flipped and sold the home next door to it. And so I found that deal on the on just on the MLS. And when we flipped a property, I would always hear from people flipping, like, go through the neighborhood, door knock, that neighborhood where you're flipping your home. And so we had gone around the neighborhood and noticed that the home right next door to the one that we were flipping was just completely not very good condition. The roof, you can obviously see that it was just run down. The siding was just in terrible condition, and the landscape was just all over the place. So I we could tell that this home particularly just really needed a makeover. And it was empty. So we kind of got some information from the neighbors. We went door knocking and kind of found out that it was a older gentleman with his wife, but he lives with his daughter and keeps it empty. And so we finally were able to, um, we came to check up on our flip next door, and the old man came. He pulled up to into his driveway, and so thanks to my husband, we're kind of partners in this. He was the one that I kind of told him, "Oh, that's who we're looking for. I think that's him. That's the owner." And finally, he was the one that was able to approach him and kind of got to know him a little bit better. And come to find out, he was ready to let go of the house. He needed to buy another home closer to his children, and we just came in and made him a fair offer, and we were able to get that taken care of for him.
That's awesome because that's like taking action. Because if you wasn't working on that one property next door, you wouldn't be able to take action on that other one. So no, that's that's really awesome. Then it sounds like when y'all was having the conversation, you probably learned how to have that conversation because it sounds like you solved somebody's problem.
Yes, yes, it was because basically, life gets to us, right? Every one of us. And he just wasn't really, he needed to get rid of his home. He just wasn't focused on it because, his wife had passed away,
Mm,
and he was living with his daughter, which the daughter, I guess, come to find out when we finally had spoken with them, she was like, I was so ready to get rid of this home. My dad just uses it for storage, for his all his, possessions of what he has, and so it was great. When we bought the home, he immediately went and bought his home next to his daughter, near
oh,
to his daughter.
wow.
So it was great. It worked out for him. It worked out for us, and yeah.
That is awesome. So I was going to just ask the people in the chat. Um, have y'all came across or seen some houses that kind of mimic what Mary is talking about? Like as you kind of go through the neighborhoods as you come through, do you see those type of houses in there? Yeah, Deborah is saying, beautiful, right on time, right place, right? Being there to be able to help. Because one of the things I realized as it was going through, as we learn, as we continue to learn, the more problems we can help solve, the more deals or the more things you are able to do. And it sounds like it was right on time that you was able to have that conversation with them, right? You wasn't prepared, you was already prepared, right? Because some people say, well, I'm gonna get started when this happens. No, no, no. You need to be already prepared because when that opportunity shows up, you don't miss it. And so he showed up and y'all was able to go out there and just have that conversation with him, which is really awesome to solve his problems. Um, so the question came in, which is good. Oh, somebody said definitely in the Tampa area. Yeah. So, and Renee said yes. Right. So people actually are resonating with what you're saying. Like there's houses everywhere. And just to remind everybody, where are you? Where is this property? Where are you?
This home is in Sandy, Utah.
Yeah. And I'm in Northern Virginia, and the people I'm seeing, I know there's from different areas like Tampa, Virginia, North Carolina. There's real estate everywhere. There's opportunities everywhere, but we just got to be able to understand how to, and that's where the education community comes in as we kind of walk through. So, yeah, even California that's coming in. So a question came in like, did you have issues finding a contractor? We go ahead and just ask that question right up front.
No, well, for this house particularly, no, because this is probably our ninth deal on this particular home. And so we had a contractor that we've been working with, but this home did need quite a bit of work. There was there was quite a bit of work to be done in this house, so it did take us a little bit longer for to renovate it versus the other homes that we've worked on.
And you built a team. So if you don't mind, if you have some pictures, people would love to go ahead and start, seeing what this house looked like. If you have some pictures,
Sure. Let's
and
see.
as she starts to pull up those pictures, yes, I see exactly what a lot of y'all are saying. She's going to talk about how she financed the house. She's going to get to the numbers. We're going to get that towards the end. Yes, exciting to learn about the nitty gritty of the property. So she's going to actually start to walking through. So we can see your picture. So you can go ahead and start talking there.
Okay, so this was a little bit of what the house looked like before. Even with this photo here, can you see it, Keith?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. All
Now,
right,
if you
just
want to
making
make it
sure.
bigger, you can hit that button to the left, right there.
Okay. Does that help?
It didn't get bigger, but that's okay.
Oh,
We'll go with what we have.
let's see. Oops. Hang on.
No problem.
Sorry.
Oh, because we already told everybody this is your first online property tour. So this is
Yeah, I apologize.
you just got so you say you got started about a year and a half, and you probably on yourself like a 12-ish deal. So you've been pretty much moving since you got started.
Yes, and I feel like we are moving too because we've been enjoying this, my husband and I. So
Enjoying doing this. This is actually cool.
yeah, we've been having fun. I feel like because I have a partner to kind of, share our wins together, we've been enjoying it.
Awesome. So we can see your picture.
Okay.
We go for it. Yeah.
Do I need to make it bigger?
No, I think you're good for right now.
Okay. So yeah, so here's the first photo here. It's kind of what we started with, the home. As you can see, um the roof was kind of and the siding was kind of not in good condition, the garage and everything. And this photo here is doesn't even really show the true before, to be honest. It was a little bit cleaned up even in this photo. Um, and then here you can see we kind of started, we did the roof, siding, new windows already in here. Um, and so just that alone kind of took a little while, and we've already done some landscaping work as well. So far,
So out of
we've
curiosity, how many like do you know like how many bedrooms and like how many baths?
oh, so this home has so we started off this home with three bed and two and a half bath. And then it was an unfinished basement. So it has a basement. I think I'll show you. Oops. There's a basement in this home that was unfinished, which we're creating a walkout for it as well. That's pretty popular here in Utah, creating a walkout basement.
Hmm.
Um, and so we're adding a two bedroom to that basement and a kitchenette. So there's the walkout. It's just about done here in this photo. Um,
So like somebody was asking questions, like they see a lot of dirt. So like in the front of the house, what was the dirt in front of the house?
so we were kind of fixing, we had to dig there because there was a crack in the foundation inside of the home. And so we had the engineer come out and look at it. But it's all cleared now, and the engineer was able to see that there was no crack on the outside. It was just a small crack that we just wanted to be sure that everything looked okay for the sale of the home.
Now, some people would like to know, like, did you know that before you purchased the house, or was that after you purchased the
I
house?
did. I knew that before.
Uh,
So so that we wanted to make sure that it gets taken care of.
okay. And, and so when so it's so one of the things that I believe you're the way you kind of already explained it, you already have a team to help you. You built a team as you start to do these flips, because this is
Yes,
not your first one. You built a relationship. You was able to ask questions and vet your team so that way there's a mutual understanding when you talk about doing a flip, correct?
correct. Yes. And that did take some time to kind of get to know contractors and build trust with them. And so I do kind of usually know the cost as well as I've been able to get to know these contractors a little bit better. And so I usually will bring them out to the property while we're under contract to come and give me an estimation of what we're looking at as far as cost.
Now, do you have them come out before your due diligence period, or is it sometimes that, or you got to a point where you're comfortable in like you know your numbers as like the materials and cost of materials and labor?
Sometimes, yes, it just depends. For this one, there was so much to it. So I brought them in while under contract, during our due diligence.
That's awesome. And so you start off that, and I like how you start off with saying it is, it was three bedrooms. So it sounds like you added some more bedrooms.
Yes, I added two more bedrooms to the basement. So it is a permitted project as well. Um, however, we the work that needed to be done on there was still a great deal for us to add those things to add the value to it.
So would you say like this is one of those projects that kind of stretch out a little bit as you are you learning?
Yes, so we on this one particularly, we knew the numbers from next door for what we sold it for. And so we knew we had room in there to add much more value, to bring the value to this home up,
Now,
which
did
is
you
why
have
we
a lot
did
of
the
before pictures?
basement.
Did you have like a lot of before pictures or
Um, Let me see if I can find them. So this was, and we also took down this wall here as well. This was kind of a little bit of the before. Um, the kitchen, living room area.
now I
Kind
know
of.
like a lot of investors what they would do is they will as soon as they get the property under contract, they put the team to work really quick. And it sounds like something like you probably did also.
I did. There was just so much work. It was, to be done here. And then we also, the basement needed to be permitted as well. So we had to wait for inspections and from the city to come take a look in the basement and, getting plans all. um, taken care of before starting the work.
So is this a picture like the laundry room going?
Yes, this is laundry room going into the kitchen area here. We're kind of about halfway done with it. And yeah, so here's that living room area. Um, After it's been all, drywalled and mudded and everything. So, and then we do have cabinets in already in the kitchen, and so just we're kind of halfway done pretty much on this home.
Okay. So how long were you budgeted or time frame for this property?
So our time frame that we're hoping for is about, to keep under 6 months, but we're at about 4 months now on this home. So we're kind of stretching it a little bit, but however, it's still worth it to us. And we knew that from the beginning when we started. And so it's still worth it to us to, even if we make it past the 6 months mark on this. So
So I'm assuming that you took everything out of the kitchen. You pretty much like almost gutted the whole entire house.
yes, we did. And we took down a wall, and I'm sorry, I can't find this wall. As you can see, that was the wall that was taken down here to open up that space here in the living room and dining room area.
And I see you put recessed lightings throughout.
Yes.
Now, did you have to upgrade the electrical?
On this particular home, no, we didn't have to upgrade like any panels or anything. We're adding just recessed lights and throughout the home.
Also, now that out of curiosity, when it comes to the design, who's the designer? Is it you or your husband?
Usually me, and then I kind of just tell them, the crews that he kind of helps out, managing, what to do. And then I usually work with a real estate agent to kind of help me, choose and make designs, what you think would sell better. Um, and colors and what's the trends, and then also looking, helping the agent will usually help me by, showing me the remodeled homes in the area and the trends. And so I think a real estate agent has been helpful in helping me make those decisions as well.
Now, do you use the same agent or do you change agents?
Uh, Different agents depending on what I feel like their skills are and their expertise.
So that's interesting because the you as you are learning and as you going through and you taking action on what we call real estate investing, you also vetting and you also searching for folks to be able to do the pieces um, that could be part of your team. If that makes sense.
Yes.
That's awesome. And so now because you've done so because you have done so many at this point, it's almost like people want to be on your team because you are like what we call a mover and shaker.
Yes, yes, exactly.
And that's one of the things I wouldn't say it gets easier, but it's almost like people want to be on your team versus you always have to try to find people to be on your team. Never
Right. Yes.
so it's just like you're vetting them than them vetting you
Yes.
more. And it makes things a little bit easier. I'm not gonna say it's simple, but a little bit easier when
Right.
it's almost like that like on the playground when you like the one of the first or second one being picked versus being the very last one. So that's really awesome. So the picture that you have here now, did you actually go and did you order the or your general contractor? How did you come up with the materials and like who's going to do what and the layout? I know you said you had an architect, but what was the idea when it came to that, even though you used an agent to kind of help you?
Um, for this home and style, it's different from next door for sure. But I think what we've seen, I'm not sure if you, but here in Utah we have the Parade of Homes. And so usually there's trends in those homes that you see in the parade of homes. And I looked at the colors and what I saw in that. And so um we kind of went off of, those styles. Also, remember we sold the home next door. So the open houses for that the agent held gave us great feedback. Uh and so with that feedback, we took that into consideration for this home particularly.
Yeah, so that's almost like what people say, you understanding your market.
Yes.
And as you understood your market on the other one, that one just feed into this one right here that made it as you kind of move forward. Like, is that space right there? It's going to be like your oven combo there, that right where your mouse is.
Yes, it is. It's going to be yeah, correct.
Awesome. And so, well, as I just want to make sure everybody understand, because really understanding your area really helps when it comes to your designs, what you're going to put in there, what are people looking for in the area? Because people like in Florida may want something versus the people in New York or the people in Virginia. So really understanding the area that you're going to go in, even if you don't live in the area, it's understanding what's the trends in that area. What are people really are looking for, and to have that conversation with a real estate agent like you have really paying off. Now, did you
Yeah.
carry that flooring all throughout the house, or did you kind of break it out into different?
No, we use that flooring all throughout the house. Also another thing too with the feedback that we got from next door, um, we knew that possibly those same buyers that didn't buy that home, they might come to the next door as well. So we knew that, the buyers that are coming to look at that home, they're looking in that location specifically.
Yeah, so
Um,
if I was a real estate agent who didn't win on that house, you definitely want to get them in this one. Yeah,
yeah.
that's it. That's really awesome. That's really awesome. Yeah, people say, man, that look like two big ovens, which is probably what people like, especially when you added two more rooms, so you're kind of preparing for a big family ish.
Yes. So, here in, I do feel like everywhere everyone's looking for affordable housing, right?
Right.
And so with next door, we also had a big basement, but one of the feedback was, they wanted um a walkout, or some kind of entrance to the basement, be separated. And so we took that into consideration with this home. Yes, it cost us an extra, 15,000, 16,000 to do that, but it was worth it for us because that means we're gonna have more eyes now on this home versus next door. And so that's why we created that because it allows the new home buyer or owner for this home here to be able to rent out their basement to, kind of offset your mortgage.
Okay. Awesome. You have some more pictures that you want to kind of share there? And we know you're doing double duty. Again, we thank you for taking time out. You muted there. That's okay.
Sorry. What was that question again? Sorry.
No, no, it's if you had some more pictures that you wanted to share, because I know you had some
Oh,
more that you wanted to kind of walk.
yes. Let's see.
And as she's going through these pictures, if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat as we kind of go through.
That's kind of all I have here.
Hey, Keith,
Yes,
can you hear me okay?
yes, I can hear you, Scott.
Hey, I just wanted to throw a couple things in here. I know it's a little bit of a change of pace here. Early on, Mary, you mentioned that you were an immigrant. Did I hear that right?
Yeah, so my husband is an immigrant, but my parents are immigrants as well.
And where's your husband from? Because a lot of people
My
don't know you guys.
Yeah, my husband is from Samoa, and he came here right after he graduated high school. So he
And
was
you guys are
17.
pretty young, so he's only been here a short while.
Yes, yeah.
That's amazing. And then you didn't mention how, because you mentioned early on you had some problems with having children, but now how many children do you have?
We have three now.
Oh, congratulations. That's
Yeah, thank
awesome.
you.
Yeah, I think I just wanted to mention that for folks because there's again, a lot of people on that don't know you and Seta. And I just think it's an amazing story that people will resonate with. We have folks all the time that maybe are coming here from a different country, maybe live in a different country, and they want to do business here, maybe eventually move here, and how you guys were able to do that. How your husband was able to come here right after graduating, and now you guys have done what, a dozen deals already,
Yes.
and you're doing all of this with raising three children.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people, like Pete talks about, I'm sorry about the background noise, guys. I'm actually getting ready to walk into my granddaughter's basketball game. But a lot of times people say, well, I've got a family. I've got, I'm not from this country. I've only been here a few years. It's just about engaging and taking action. You do not agree?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
I just wanted to mention that, Keith, because again, I don't remember hearing her mention that in her story.
No, hey Scott, I appreciate that because what you're really kind of talking about is sometimes we put these things called unlimited beliefs that kind of prevents us from doing things that we really want to do. And just hearing, what the story that Mary is talking about and just the results that they have from their efforts moving forward is that, don't let anything hold you back, which is really awesome. Now, one of the questions that came up was, are you thinking about staging the property?
Yes. So definitely, we always stage our properties, and it always gives the buyers uh an a vision. It always gives the buyers a vision of um what it would be like for them and how they can living in that space. So we do use stagers.
Okay, so you use stages because I think in one of the other property tours, um, the investor they go to estates and they buy furniture that they use for staging for whatever property they're going to use. And so they have like a shed. And so they just take little, stuff and they stage the house after they finish it. And then once the house sold, they take the stuff out, put it back in storage. So I thought that was pretty neat. I kind of wrote that little nugget down. It's
Oh,
like
awesome.
I was like, thank you for sharing. That was never thought about that. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was kind of really awesome that he was able to share. And so we know you got to get back because I know you say your husband is actually working on another deal or
Yeah.
preparing for another deal, and you got some other things to do. Somebody really wants your attention, but we do want to say thank you for taking your time out. So I know some people are really curious about the numbers, and so if you don't mind, go ahead and kind of sharing us, some of your numbers, and we'll kind of go through that, and then after that, we'll just have a couple more words and then we'll close it out and let you get back to the rest of your day.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So this home here, we bought it from Les is his name at 500,000.
Oh, you're not sharing your screen if you're gonna
Oh, you want me to share my screen? Okay. 1 second. Let me pull up my
yeah, this is I'm really excited because I mean I'm just the time frame from the time that you um, got started and how y'all been moving through your process is really awesome. It's really um, it's really nice to hear because people hear about real estate investing, but they're like, but can you do real estate investing like today? It's like with all
I
the stuff
know.
going on, interest rate, and other, are people really buying and flipping and all that? They add all these other things and to kind of stop them from doing it. But the answer is yes. And thank you for sharing because you actually in the middle of a deal that you actually, a flip, and you actually took time out to share that yes, this can be done. And this is, based on what y'all learn, your efforts and stuff like that. So when somebody decides they want to do it, they got to put in their efforts, you know, and remove their limited beliefs to kind of move forward because every deal is different for everybody. And so thank you for sharing with us there. So
Yeah.
what you got for us?
Okay, so are you able to see my,
Yes, I can see your screen.
okay. So this home here, we bought at, sorry, that's not the number.
That's ARV. Yeah.
All right, yeah. So we bought this home here, as you can see, at 500,000. That was our purchase price.
Hmm.
Um, we are spending about 200,000 in renovations.
Hmm.
And then realtor commissions, I just usually my agent will sell it for 2% or less. So I factored in 4% here. Um, and then uh, these are my, holding costs in this section here, which comes out to about 277,000. And then the ARV, the selling price that we're gonna sell it at is 1.1 million. Um, Also keep in mind we did already sell next door, so we already knew what the numbers, how high we could get as far as numbers. We sold that in the winter in December, and so
But you're gonna be
uh,
selling in the summer, so you're gonna definitely have a lot of traction.
yes, yeah, so it would be such a different, time period, and even, I also learned from uh some of our coaching calls that we've had, Gavin McCaleb, he
Hmm.
brought this up, and I loved what he said because I took that into consideration now into our flipping. And he had mentioned is make sure you are making your ARV, considering your ARV cost price with the time of the season. So if it's a low time of the season where there's not as much buyers, like for us here in Utah, which is the winter time, December, January, February, whatever, uh, whatever that time, that time of the season is in your area, you'll want to take that into consideration. And so, the home next door, that was sold in the winter time, which is our slowest time of the year here in Utah and in the valley for selling a home. And but we were able to sell that at about 920, 920,000 next door. But this one, we're going to be selling this here probably in a month and a half. And so we've raised that ARV here um, for that reason, but also there's other reasons as well by looking at comparables.
Yeah.
And so with this here, this is our biggest profit that we've ever made on a flip, which is 283,000.
Wow. That is awesome. So you did, so like one of the questions that came up was, how long would you kind of, you talked about it. You budget for 6 months. So, so some can be shorter, some can be longer. It just
Yes.
depends on what the house needs and what strategy the investor is doing. Now, out of curiosity, are you using like any of your money, own money, or how are you kind
No. So this one
of,
was
hold on,
actually
was the answer was no?
no, I didn't. I'm not using any of my money on this home.
I just want to make sure I heard that right. Hold, before we go any further, do you have room for a family to move from Virginia to Utah? And we don't eat a lot. I'm just saying. We can do some work there. No, that's awesome. So you didn't use any of your own money, so you was able to creatively come up ways to be able to fund this deal because you don't have to be specific to be able to fund this deal because you're still going through it to be able to calculate your numbers as you learn. It sounds like you also use some not only community help but resources that's there in the community to be able to what I call verify some things that you're doing. In other words, making sure that you're on the right path or you end up, which now you took the lessons learned from your other property to use on this one, which you said, wow. Because as you were talking, you says, hey, some of the buyers or people looking to buy were looking for this and that. and you kind of put it into this property, which now you have a better reward because you continue to move forward. So that's really awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
And so Laura, so you asked like who the people that's coaching her. So I would say get with the person who invited you to this meeting, and then they will help you connect you to those kind of going forward because we want to make sure that we get her back because she has a little one who wants her time, and so you can close that out.
Okay.
We just got a couple more questions we want to ask you, and again, we really do appreciate you, taking your time out. Busy family, life is lifing, right? But you're still achieving, you're moving towards your goal. Um, you talked about family, right? You talked
Yeah.
about, and then part of that, generational wealth. Now, generational wealth means something different for everybody, right? But when people talk about, say, generational wealth, what does that mean to you? What does that mean for you?
I think for me, it means leaving something behind for my children and hoping that they can benefit from it and continue to grow it. Um, you know, I, I'm just thankful my parents migrated here to America, in my opinion, and they were able to bring us here. And so for me, I feel like it's my I want to say duty, but it's my turn to, okay, my parents brought me here for a reason. So I want to be able to, give something to my children to give them a reason, as well to continue on growing here that where our parents brought us to. And so I truly believe that there's many opportunities out there for us to um, create wealth for our families and this here we found through, mentors and program and the education that was provided to us. And so I am using that to help my kids and my future and we enjoy it. That's the plus side is we enjoy it.
No, that's good because a lot of people go to work and they're not really happy. But now you doing this and you're happy. You not only are, the results that you're getting is really awesome, but you're also creating jobs for the area,
Yes.
right? You're providing, housing for the area, right? So
Yes.
you clean it up, and at the same time, when the value of the house goes up, the city can, they collect more taxes. So you're part of the system that kind of helps stabilize the area. So again, thank you for doing that. And so as we start to we towards the end, and there's probably some things as you were kind of like going through this in your mind as we were talking. There's probably some things you're like, man, I wish I would have said this, or man, yeah, I learned this. I want to share that. I want to give you that time to kind of like talk to somebody who's here that's thinking about it, but really hasn't moved forward, and or somebody who's been continuing just learning and hasn't moved out of the learning loop, right? And
Yeah.
then there's some folks who's been doing this, but they just want to take their game to the next level and really just maximize 2025 because we're already in April. Like what next week tax season, people got to turn in their taxes. Like what should somebody be doing right now? Like what would you tell them they should do?
I think for me and for I think I can speak for my husband as well, is we've learned to if there's something that we've been dreaming to do. I think for us, we were dreaming to, scale our real estate, portfolio and do things that in real estate that we been hoping that we could do someday. We ended up finding something that worked for us, an education that and a community that we were able to get in, and it helped us to achieve those dreams. I feel like I feel like we're living our dreams, to be honest, and we have found that here in the community and with the education provided. And so, if there's anyone there still thinking about it, in my mind, Uh, you just gotta do it. You gotta put it in action and get in right now. And you want to get in a room in a community of people that are doing things that you want to do, basically. And so I feel like that's what we did. We saw that there was people doing things that wanted to do, and so we wanted to be there and get in there and learn and do the same things.
That is awesome. Well, thank you, Mary, for your words of encouragement. Sharing with us what you're doing, how y'all doing it. You're going through the motion. I mean, you stop. You like I say, you're pretty much in the middle of your project. You're taking time out. Your husband is still doing deals. Your kids want you and all that kind of stuff. We can feel that, and we want to say thank you for taking your time out, for just pausing to allow us to be able to just get a glimpse of your lens of what's happening as you're what they call lifing, right? Life happens for everybody, and you're just taking the time out. And Scott, I just want to say thank you for putting this all together. I know you're busy, you living your life. Thank you for just allow for this to happen. And for everybody else who's here, thank you for being
Hey,
here
Keith.
next Saturday. I hear you, Scott.
Hey, just wanted to make sure, again, getting ready to start here, but I wanted to make sure that you had mentioned something about the intro today.
Yes, because right after this, there's another meeting. So we're going to allow people to be able to contact the person who invited them to this meeting to know that there's another meeting right after this to get that link. And even if you can't make it today because, busy schedule and everything, still contact them and ask them when the next meeting, because what Mary was talking about and Scott, you talk about, and I talk about is, okay, we hear this information, but then what do you do next? Then you start to learn. And then how do you get out of that fear that, we were talking about at the very beginning, is taking action steps to move forward, build that confidence level to be able to take action. Now that's different for everybody. So you have to really understand, what piece are you missing? What Mary was talking about, that, hey, we know that this can happen, but how can we do it and build that confidence and moving forward and build that family and their dreams and everything that she shares. So yeah, you're right, Scott. That is really important for somebody to do, to, take that next step, is take it from learning to implementation. And that's what I like about this community. Let's implement what we learn. As Mary, you definitely was showing us that you implement that process. And then next Saturday, we have another property tour. So we'll see everybody next Saturday. Mary, again, thank you again for
Yes.
being here.
Thank you. Thanks for
Um,
having me. I enjoyed this.
you're a rock star. You're a rock star. You did awesome. And so for everybody else, hey, see you next Saturday, and y'all have a good one.